In today's video, we're going to recap the movie Sandcastle from 2017. The story follows Private Matt Oker and his squad as they're tasked with fixing a water problem for a remote village while battling tensions amongst the locals and ambushes from the enemy. Stay tuned and watch our full recap. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. In the movie Sandcastle, we see less of the war and more of Private Matt Oker's character development, who hated battling in the war before. However, he got so focused on his work gradually that he didn't even want to go back to his country to enjoy his leave. Fernando Coimbra directed this war action film, which can be watched on Netflix. Private Matt didn't join the US military to fight for freedom. Instead, he joined to pay for his college tuition fees. He joined the Army in July 2001. When he started getting deployed to different places, it became torturous as he couldn't love his job from the core of his heart. So he began to hurt himself so they wouldn't send him on missions anymore. But that plan never worked. While taking out his plaster, he seems to exaggerate his pain even though the wound on his hand is healed nicely. In the gym, all the soldiers are talking when Matt comes. When they ask him about his hand, he seems sad that it's getting better. The idea of fighting against the enemies makes him sulk, and Matt continuously has to fight more, at least for 2 years. After that, he meets his friend Sergeant Cole on the way. Even though he says to stay safe during the war, Matt shows no interest. Later, they started preparing for their mission in Iraq, as they are now in Kuwait. In the morning, they started fighting against the enemies. They seem to observe that the mass shooting is coming from a building, not a mosque. To avoid shooting, Matt, along with Sergeant Chutsky and other soldiers, quickly goes into another building. On the stairs, one of the soldiers gets shot. Then Matt and Chutsky go to the rooftop, where Matt tells through walkie-talkie that the firing is coming from the hotel, not from the mosque. As they couldn't cover it, Chutsky called for an airstrike. The U.S. helicopter bombed the whole building. Then, they leave the war area and go for their new home. After 3 months, they are still in that place, and everyone, along with Matt, copes with the new environment. They all take a photo with a dead man. On the other hand, Sergeant Harper calls the team to bring the dead body to him as soon as possible. In an ambulance, they put the corpse inside. Even though Matt doesn't want to go with the corpse, he still has to go in as Chutsky forces him. But all of a sudden, the dead guy starts moving, which freaks Matt out. Then another soldier, Enzo, tries to shoot him, but Chutsky stops him as the corpse is just thawing out. Meanwhile, Harper's superior, First Lieutenant Anthony, shares a problem with him. The Apaches left a big hole in the water station in a small village up north, on the outskirts of Bakuba, when they fired on them, so he tells Harper to make a team and send the team there to fix the water pump. Then, he also tells Harper to report it to Captain Syverson. Even though the boys and Sergeant Harper wanted to go home after the mission, they had to follow the instructions no matter what. Then Harper comes to tell the team about sending them to Bakubu. Even though Enzo is against the idea of going there at first, along with everyone, he also agrees with the plan. But as they are going to send the team to a very rural and dangerous village, Matt gets scared. He shares with Harper that going there could be hazardous for them. Because they've destroyed the water station, people greatly suffer from that. If they again go there to repair it, villagers could see it negatively and attack them. But Sergeant Harper tells him not to think negatively. The villagers could become happy as they return to solve their water problem. It doesn't convince Matt, and he tells Harper he's not ready to face this obstacle. Before starting the Bakuba mission, they get warned about the IED attack, and they are told to maintain convoy integrity. IED attacks could be deadly. In the village, they meet Sergeant Syverson, who commands them to work on the water flowing. The villager starts creating chaos to get water from the water tank. Then, Syverson briefs them about fixing the water problem, which will help them win the hearts and minds of Iraqis. Besides, he also warned about the fact that they shouldn't get attached to the villagers. Instead, they should keep their distance from them when they're done with the job every day. The next day, after Syverson's briefing, they start for their designated place along with Mahmoud. Mahmoud is a local soldier who helps them to communicate with the villagers. They'll go to the water station, fill up a tank, and bring it back to the village daily. They'll bring it back to the town 3 times a day. In the water station area, an engineer, Sergeant Robinson, talks with Sergeant Harper and tells him that the repair may take some weeks. But Harper tells him that he's going to bring in extra workers so that he can speed up the repair. So they fill up a tank to take it to the villagers. While going to the village, they see a vehicle following them on the road. As they shoot at the vehicle, it stops. They also stop all of their vehicles. The soldiers tell the guy to get out of the car by holding him at gunpoint. With Mahmoud's help, they understand that the guy is unarmed and he is taking his sick daughter to his relative's pharmacy. Even though Chutsky still has bad feelings about the guy, Sergeant Harper lets him go and tells him not to drive on this road. Back in the village, while distributing the water, they announced that they would supply water every day at 10 a.m. and are trying their best to fix the pump as soon as possible. Besides, to resolve the pump soon, they need workers and will pay them daily for 10 hours worth of hard work. After a hard day's work, the soldiers get to rest at night. They waited for the workers to arrive the following day, but no one came, which surprised them. So without taking any man, they go to the water station. At the station, when Engineer Robinson asks Harper for the workers, he tells him that he has none. But to solve this problem, he and Syverson will talk with Sheikh. So they come to the Sheikh's home, where they enter the house by taking off their boots to show respect. Then, after having chai, they tell the Sheikh about their problem. Sheikh didn't like the idea that they brought more soldiers with them. Then Captain Syverson tells him these soldiers have come to fix the water problem. Harper tells Sheikh the same thing and adds that they need his blessing to do the job. But Sheikh thinks this is very dangerous. If he helps the Americans, he and his people have to pay with their lives. But Harper assures him that they'll protect the Iraqi people. But Sheikh thinks differently, as Babuka belongs to the U.S. in the daytime, and at night it belongs to the others. He can't trust them as they can't protect them at night. But both Harper and Syverson say that if they don't help them, they won't have any water. Hearing that, Sheikh gets angry as they have to fix it as they destroyed it in the first place. In the water distribution place, the school director, Kadir, comes and wants help from the U.S. team as they have many children and women who need water. Here, Sheikh repeats the exact things continuously, which makes Syverson angry. So while leaving, he tells Sheikh that, "You piece of shit, I hope you get shot and die," and tells Mahmoud not to translate that part to him. As they couldn't come to a conclusion, the U.S. soldiers started to work at the water station. While leaving the place, they got attacked by the local insurgents in the middle of the road. Those people made holes in the tank, which led to the water leaking. The next day, while working, Chutsky shows frustration towards the villagers as they don't do anything but shoot at them for helping them. Matt thinks they are scared. While distributing the water among the villagers, the insurgents again start shooting at them. They fight with the enemies. But in the middle of this fierce battle, Chutsky gets shot so many times and dies. Everyone gets upset over this situation. Enzo doesn't want to work anymore as this is getting out of hand. Even Matt tries to convince Harper, but Harper tells them to grieve or mourn all night long. But tomorrow, they're going back to their work. The next morning, Kadir comes again to Matt to ask for the water for the school. But Matt says they're trying, and they should stop shooting at them. But Kadir says they're not shooting, and should ask for help from the right people. Later, after discussing the school water issue with Syverson, Harper, and Matt go to the school to investigate if everything they heard is true. So they bring some water for the people and discuss with Kadir what they will do with the ongoing issue. Kadir tells them that he'll talk with the people without anyone's knowing and supply them with workers to work at the water station. Kadir brings workers and his brother, Arif, an engineer who will help at the station. They all are working very hard, and Arif will make a part of the machine that isn't being manufactured anymore. So everything starts to go smoothly. They also enjoy being on their own. But the following day, no one showed up to work. To see what happens, they go to school. The insurgents burned Kadir alive for working with the Americans. Later, Kadir's brother, Arif, comes to their palace to show the insurgents' whereabouts. He wants them to take revenge for killing his brother. So now they're planning to launch a raid to capture the enemies. So they start this mission with their best team members and equipment. Everyone is ready for whatever is coming towards them and fights against it. They reach the place where the insurgents should be. The soldiers spread in that area to attack anytime, anywhere. Syverson's leading team finds the enemies and starts firing at them. Then they kill most of the people and capture some of them. On the other hand, the Harper team is also firing at the insurgents. While the crazy shooting is going on, Corporal Enzo gets shot in his shoulder. While moving from that place, one of their Humvee gets bombed by the enemies, which injures some soldiers. Sergeant Burton's face gets burned, and Enzo takes him out of the burning vehicle. Even though he also burned some of his facial skin still, he was more into taking care of critically injured Burton. On the other hand, Matt is still fighting intensely with the enemies. Taking all the soldiers in a Humvee, they leave immediately. Captain Syverson sends both Burton and Enzo through a medevac as they both are badly injured. Angry and frustrated, Matt starts hitting the men they captured, as his friends are all in critical situations for them. Back at the water station, they all started working again. Arif and other workers also come to join them, but one of the laborers brought an explosive device to the water station. So when Harper and Matt came to take their lunch, it burst, sabotaging the pump station and killing a lot of people on the spot. The progress they made is all destroyed. Matt gets speechless at this sudden attack. Matt and Harper come back to the base in Baghdad. After getting freshened up, they meet with their superiors. First Lieutenant Anthony tells them the war is over and they should be ready to go home. But Matt disagrees with them as they still don't get what they've planned for. They started arguing over this matter as Matt couldn't agree with them, and he wanted to stay. But Sergeant Major McGregor doesn't let him talk anymore as he needs some rest right now, no matter what he says. Later, he talks to Sergeant Harper about his frustration. He even admits that he slammed his hand back in Kuwait to get out of this war, but now he hasn't thought about home for months. Then, Matt finally goes to catch the immediate flight home, but before going in, Matt asks Sergeant Major McGregor if it is a beautiful day for the infantry. Surprising both Harper and Matt, Sergeant McGregor says it is a lovely day to start anew. Saying goodbye to Sergeant McGregor and Sergeant Harper, Matt hops on the plane.